A large Al-Quds Day rally is underway downtown after Premier Doug Ford's request to shut it down was dismissed by the courts. Good evening. Hundreds gathered outside the U.S. consulate for the annual rally, which advocates say supports Palestinian rights and commemorates their struggle for freedom.
The controversial demonstration comes after the premier called it a breeding ground for hate and anti-Semitism. CTV's Natalie Johnson has been following the rally and joins us now live with the latest. Natalie.
Andrea, this demonstration has been going on for several hours now. We'll give you a live look on Queen Street in front of Toronto City Hall. This demonstration began in front of the U.S. consulate, and as you can see, there are hundreds of people who are now making their way through the streets. Now, this rally was legally given the green light to go ahead at the 11th hour when a judge dismissed the Ford government's request for an injunction. The judge arguing that it would be unreasonable to infringe on the group's charter rights to protest. The premier had yesterday instructed his attorney general to apply to outlaw this rally, citing mounting instances of anti-Semitism across the GTA, concerned that this demonstration could be a venue for hate speech and possible criminality. But the judge ruled that there was not sufficient evidence to indicate that there was a risk to the public. Here is more from the lawyer representing the organizers of this demonstration in court today.
Our argument in court today was that when Doug Ford directed the Attorney General to try and have no evidence whatsoever to show that there was a public safety concern about this event. And that's really what it hinged on. When you go to court and you bring an application for an injunction, as Doug Ford directed the Attorney General to, you have to come with evidence. You have to come with proof for such an extraordinary remedy. And here, there was no proof. There was no evidence at all. It was largely entrenched in tropes, anti-Palestinian rhetoric, and so on. And that was something that the court ultimately would not accept as a substitute for the evidence.
And we have reaction from Premier Ford, who wrote in a statement, quote, "I'm extremely disappointed that the court has refused to put a stop to Al-Quds Day, which has long been a venue for anti-Semitism, hatred, intimidation, and the glorification of terrorism." While the judge cited Canada's Charter of Rights and Freedoms, when we talk about rights, we need to be clear that every person has the right to safety and security. We spoke to a few of the people participating in this rally today. Here's what they had to say.
Because I care about human lives. I mean, I care about people. I care about children. It's as simple as that. It doesn't need someone, you just got to have a heart, really, to be here and care about Palestine.
We were just taking a stroll downtown, and we decided to just come and see what's going on. Obviously, there's a lot of passion on both sides. We're hoping they just keep it peaceful, because we love this country. We live in this country. I look down, and I'm in Canada. And obviously our heart goes out to everyone that's suffering, but we just hope they keep it peaceful today.
And so we do have confirmation from Toronto police that there were 2 arrests made today. We did see those play out. It did appear that they were the result of relatively minor confrontations. Overall, thus far, it does appear to have been a peaceful demonstration today, although it does continue at this hour. We'll bring you any updates as they come. Reporting live for now, I'm Natalie Johnson. Andrea and Raheem, back to you.
Thank you, Natalie. A woman is in hospital and a man has been arrested after a stabbing inside a Scarborough home this morning. It happened around 11:50 near Mance Road in Lawrence, east of Morningside. Police say a woman has multiple stab wounds and a 30-year-old man is in custody. Paramedics tell us the woman suffered serious injuries but is going to survive. Meanwhile, 45-year-old Francis Ambus of Toronto is facing 85 charges, accused of planting a hidden camera in a woman's washroom at a Whitby manufacturing plant where he worked as the janitor. The investigation began earlier this year after a camera was found inside a washroom at a facility near Thixon Road and Trincott Avenue. Investigators allege that during a search of a residence in Scarborough, officers discovered numerous additional videos linked to the hidden camera. Police believe there may be additional victims and say individuals could have been recorded inside the washroom as far back as April 2022. Anyone with information is urged to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
Police say the death of a woman in North York on Wednesday is now being treated as a homicide. First responders answered a medical call at a home on Threadneedle Crescent near Leslie and Steeles Wednesday afternoon. A body was found inside the home and the death was deemed suspicious. Investigators have identified the victim as 60-year-old Jai Wei Xiao of Toronto. She is the city's 4th homicide victim of the year. The cause of death hasn't been released, and there are no details on possible suspects. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Homicide Squad or Crime Stoppers.
Harm reduction groups in Toronto are reacting to word the Ford government is going to stop funding supervised consumption sites. The Fred Victor Centre on Queen Street says it has been notified by the Ministry of Health its funding for consumption and treatment services will end as of June 13th. Harm reduction advocates say this move comes as the number of people who experienced a drug overdose in Toronto in January almost doubled from a year ago. The groups argue that evidence supports a harm reduction approach of keeping people alive and reducing risk without requiring abstinence.
These sites save lives. We know that harm reduction saves lives. We also know that you can't just do these things as one thing, that it's not just one approach, that you need approaches side by side with each other. What the government is choosing to do today will cause deaths, and it's something that we said would happen when the sites close, and people did die. We've seen a doubling of overdoses in the city of Toronto.
The provincial government moved last year to ban supervised consumption sites within 200 meters of schools and childcare centres. At the time, it said it was investing $378 million in 19 new homelessness and addiction recovery treatment hubs known as Heart Hubs. Also this week, the Ford government unveiled plans to update Ontario's freedom of information laws.
Among other proposed measures, the policy would exempt cabinet documents from being requested. Critics say that's bad news for transparency at Queen's Park.
This particular policy that we're bringing into place today, which will be in the spring bundle, will protect cabinet confidentiality. But what I also might add to this, it also protects the people of Ontario with respect to any sort of cyber incidents or information which may put our people or communities at risk, will protect the people of Ontario. I think that's an important part of this. I think we need to recognize as well. This is 40-year-old legislation, almost 40 years old. So updating it was well overdue. And again, we're going to be in line with the majority of the rest of the Canadian provinces and the federal government.
The Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery, Stephen Crawford, said confidentiality is crucial so that members of Cabinet can have candid conversations without any potential blowback. Journalists, opposition parties, and members of the public regularly file Freedom of Information requests to shed more light on government decision-making. The NDP say there's no justification for the PCs to take this step.
No government changes the FOI rules unless they are trying to hide corruption. Okay? If we had not had ability to use Freedom of Information laws to access information about the Greenbelt scandal, we would not have learned what we did there. The Greenbelt scandal, SDF, the Science Center, the Las Vegas happy ritual massages, one scandal after another, certainly. So there's no reason for this government to change these laws other than that they are actually trying to hide from the public.
Directions from ministers' offices to the public service would still be subject to Freedom of Information requests, but the exclusion of cabinet documents would apply retroactively to past documents, including some that are the focus of ongoing requests and investigations.
It's like a check and balance against any, fraud or any impropriety that's going on. We really need that check and balance. So to see that this government is moving to take that check and balance away, freedom of information, remember that's what it's called, is deeply concerning. And you think about Doug Ford, he's spending millions of our dollars, our taxpayer dollars, on protecting Ontario, but this shows that Doug Ford is only trying to protect himself and his government.
The province says right now, Ontario and Nova Scotia are the only two Canadian jurisdictions that don't explicitly protect cabinet records from Freedom of Information requests.
We'll have more news in a moment, but first here's a live look at the city this evening, and a beautiful evening at that. It's been a great day. Yes, a little chilly outside, but the sun is still out, and that is the good news. Let's take a look at the satellite radar. You can see conditions are clear. There will be some cloud cover coming in, and there will be some flurries developing overnight, but right now still very comfortable. From a temperature perspective, -1 degree in Hamilton, feeling like -6. Peterborough, -2 degrees, and Kingston right around the freezing mark. At the islands right now, as I mentioned, the sun is still shining. 1 degree. Pearson Airport right around the freezing mark York as well. Tonight, our overnight low will be -5, feeling like -9. I mentioned that there will be flurries developing overnight. We are also under a special weather statement here in Toronto. There could be some snow and also potentially some freezing rain on Sunday. That may impact the St. Paddy's Day parade tomorrow. We'll have all those details coming up. Andrea.
Thanks, Raheem. As the war rages on in the Middle East, Iran continues to target U.S. military installations in neighboring countries.
CTV's Heather Wright is in Turkey and reports on a NATO air defense system used to shoot down drones and missiles.
Atop a snowy hill roughly 2,000 meters above sea level is the Kreçke radar station, a key NATO facility used for early detection of ballistic missiles. These types of facilities have been key to not only Turkish defense during this war, but in neighboring countries also targeted by Iran. To bolster Turkey's air protection, an advanced U.S. Patriot missile defense system was deployed here after 2 Iranian missiles were shot down. A third was intercepted yesterday. Iranian officials have insisted they did not give any orders to shoot. In the nearby city of Malatya, Mehmet, a former soldier, says he's not worried about the war raging next door in Iran. We are not scared, he says. We didn't have problems with Iran before, but if something happens, we can fight for our country. The hope, of course, is it doesn't come to that. But Mehmet acknowledges there are risks to hosting NATO bases and U.S. troops nearby, which are targets of Iran. Pros and cons, he says, adding he feels more safe with Turkey's own defense system. While the United States does not release how many missiles or drones it intercepts, it has shared the number of targets U.S. and Israeli forces have hit over the course of this 2-week war. 15,000. It's a big and expensive number.
This is a war of economics right now.
Retired Major General David Fraser says the United States is spending billions of dollars on this war, attacking sites in Iran and intercepting drones. But the Iranian drones cost a fraction of the American weapons taking them out. And there are questions about how big the U.S. stockpile really is.
To shoot down a $60,000 drone, the price ratio on that could be about 163 to 1 in some cases. Effective, but certainly not efficient.
Iran is deploying a strategy similar to the one used in Ukraine, which has held off Russia's more powerful army for more than 4 years. And while Iran's tempo of attacks has slowed, they have still been able to carry out precision strikes. Today, the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad was hit with plumes of smoke seen coming from the roof. No one has yet claimed responsibility for the strike.
They've completely underestimated the Iranians. They've got a second wind.
Today, U.S. President Donald Trump vowed to destroy Iran's main oil export hub if the Strait of Hormuz is not immediately reopened, a threat ignored by Iranian officials who say any tanker trying to get through the strait will be targeted. It's yet another sign that this conflict is far from over. Heather Wright, CTV News, Malatya, Turkey.
Prime Minister Mark Carney said today that Canada is focused on finding ways to de-escalate the conflict in the Middle East.
We remind all belligerents in this conflict their responsibilities to adhere to international law. That means no attacks on civilian infrastructure and certainly civilians, and care in that regard. But we are individually and collectively in dialogue with many of the affected nations and doing a number of things to help.
The PM's comments came as he visited Norway. Today, that country and Canada agreed to deepen ties on Arctic security, energy, critical minerals, and other shared priorities. Fuel costs have been soaring since the conflict in Iran started, with Canadians feeling the pinch at the pump.
And the ripple effects of those high prices could soon be felt in other areas of spending. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth takes a look at what we could see down the road.
When Janelle Clark saw the latest gas prices, she posted this video on social media. Disposable income for a road trip vacation with her husband and 3 children is no longer a reality.
We definitely couldn't afford that at all. It would be a crazy amount.
Gas analyst Dan McTagg says the war in Iran continues to jolt fuel prices around the globe.
Diesel's up 52 cents a liter net and gasoline up 25 cents a liter net.
Nova Scotia is slightly cheaper compared to the rest of Canada, but still climbing.
Nova Scotia would have started at $1.30 38 back on February the 27th.
Historically speaking, when global conflicts cause gas prices to go up, domestic tourism in Canada takes a major dip.
With the last Gulf War, we did see rubber tire traffic, so individual automobile traffic go down.
But there is some possible good news. During the Second Gulf War, cruise ship travel increased in the Maritimes and New England.
Just a little over 33% increase resulting from the ships diverting from the Gulf.
Cruise lines haven't announced any plans to divert cruise traffic to the East Coast yet. As for how high these fuel prices could go if the Iran war continues long term,
There's no limit, simply because at that stage, oil would go on a tear.
according to McTagg, if this conflict continues long term, it could also drain the emergency oil supplies around the globe, which could cause fuel prices to climb even higher, possibly to record levels. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Ukrainian officials say at least 4 people are dead after Russian missiles and drones hit several regions overnight. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia's main target was energy infrastructure around the Kyiv region. That's where the 4 fatalities were reported. As authorities say, residential buildings, schools, and businesses were also damaged. Russia has kept up regular airstrikes on Ukrainian towns as U.S.-led efforts to broker an end to the invasion remain on hold amid the war in Iran.
An explosion outside a Jewish school in Amsterdam today is under investigation as a deliberate attack. That's according to the Dutch capital's mayor. The blast caused minor damage and no injuries at the only school specifically for Orthodox Jews in the Netherlands. Security had been heightened after a blast at a synagogue in Rotterdam early Friday. 4 suspects were arrested in connection with that incident. Dutch Prime Minister Rob Jetten said the safety of Jewish institutions has the government's full attention. These mark the latest in a string of incidents targeting Jewish community sites in several countries since the U.S. and Israeli strikes started on Iran. They include an attack at a Michigan synagogue on Thursday.
We have to plan for things like this, and we have to have the security, the training, the budgets in order to keep ourselves safe. And there is no doubt that misinformation, disinformation, and just blatant anti-Semitism leads to attacks like this.
The FBI say 41-year-old Ayman Ghazali, a U.S. citizen who was born in Lebanon, died on a self-inflicted gunshot wound during a firefight with security guards after carrying out Thursday's attack. He drove his truck loaded with fireworks into a synagogue, injuring 1 guard on the way. The building houses a preschool, and no students or staff were hurt. Officials say Ghazali had family members who were killed in an Israeli airstrike in Lebanon last week. The FBI has said it's investigating the incident as a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community.
Troubling news for the Canadian economy, with the country's unemployment rate ticking up last month with the biggest number of job losses in decades outside the pandemic.
CTV's John Venevalley-Rao looks at what's behind the downward trend.
At recent job fairs across the country, plenty of job seekers have turned out, hoping to get hired amid a sharp slowdown in employment.
A lot of people are eager and ready to work.
The unexpected plunge in positions, driving up February's unemployment rate from 6.5 to 6.7%, after experts had forecast job gains for the economy.
I thought we'd add actually more than 10,000. So to see us shed 85, there's very, very little good news you can pull from this one.
The losses were broad-based across industries, including the services sector and manufacturing. Quebec led the way with a drop of 57,000 jobs, while BC, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba also slipped. In Ontario, employment held steady, though the unemployment rate rose to 7.6% as more people looked for work.
It's been harrowing. It's been dehumanizing.
Zara Baksh lost her job as an administrative assistant 6 years ago, and since then hasn't been able to find a full-time job. She's now unhoused, sleeping on a friend's couch. Still, she's not giving up.
I am still hopeful. I don't know why, but there's a part of me that thinks, you know, with my skill set, like someone will notice me, someone will return a call back. I'm trying to get as creative as I can with how I'm seeking jobs.
Most of the losses came from full-time positions in the private sector and wiping out gains seen late last year. The harsh winter weather in part being blamed, along with trade uncertainty with the U.S. and the softening housing market.
I don't believe we're in a recession, but clearly the economy is struggling out of the gate in 2026.
And some worry the fallout from the fighting in the Middle East could further impact the economy.
Still, despite the job losses, the national unemployment rate is actually roughly where it was a year ago, and hourly wages, they're actually up 3.9% year over year. John Valley-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
Well, speaking of layoffs, Meta is planning massive layoffs, which could affect 20% or more of the company to offset costly artificial intelligence infrastructure. 3 sources tell Reuters the cuts are meant to make room for greater efficiency brought about by AI-assisted workers. No date has been set for the cuts, and how many jobs will be shed hasn't been finalized, but it could mean Meta's most significant job cuts since 2023 restructuring it dubbed the year of efficiency.
Well, it's officially a March break for most schools in the GTA, and many are flocking to Pearson for a getaway. The next few days are expected to be some of the busiest of the year at the airport, with 1.7 million travelers expected to come through Pearson. To help keep things running smoothly, the airport is rolling out live music performances, magicians, giveaways, and a family lounge where parents and kids can unwind with a movie and some downtime.
We are in desperate need of some warm weather. We're heading to Nicaragua to meet up with our cousins and brother-in-law and our friends. Yeah, for a fun week.
Her March break is 2 weeks. We're going to Mexico to split up the middle of it, and it's a family vacation. So we're meeting her cousins, my parents are going, and yeah, just some relaxation, some sunshine. It's been a long winter.
I just came back from a warmer place as well yesterday. Coming back to this, I was very disappointed, and now I get to go somewhere else, so it's great.
Lucky him. And if you or a traveling companion get a little nervous before your flight, Pearson has a few friendly volunteers to help you relax. The St. John's Ambulance Therapy Dogs and their handlers will be strolling around Terminals 1 and 3 throughout the March break. Travelers can feel free to say hi and give them a scratch when they see them.
In case I'm traveling next week, get to the airport early, folks. That will help. I'm always late. Air Canada is rolling out a new way for people in more Ontario communities to connect to flights out of Pearson Airport. The airline has been running its landline service since 2024. It allows passengers at the Hamilton, Kingston, and Kitchener-Waterloo airports to check in and get their bags tagged. They then board a bus to Pearson Airport and proceed to bag drop and security. Now, starting June 15th, Air Canada confirmed it's expanding the landline bus service to passengers in Niagara, Muskoka, and Sarnia. Officials say the move will streamline travel out of Pearson for residents and attract more visitors to the added regions.
A note for transit riders. There is a subway closure on a stretch of Line 2 to keep in mind this weekend. Trains are not running between St. George and Broadview stations today. The closure is to accommodate signal work. Bay and Sherbourne stations are closed, while all others remain open for customers to purchase fares or connect to buses and streetcars. Shuttle buses will be running instead, and the TTC says regular service is set to resume Sunday morning around 8. Meanwhile, a reminder for commuters on Line 6. As of tomorrow, you'll no longer have to transfer to shuttle buses for service after 10 p.m. as the Finch West LRT will officially move to full operations until 1 a.m. It follows a months-long soft launch, which included nightly closures for maintenance. The TTC says trains will arrive every 6.5 minutes during weekday rush hours and every 10 minutes all other times.
Coming up after the break, it's time to talk sports, including the home opener for Toronto FC, kicking off the team's 20th anniversary this season. Luckily, the snow stopped. We will have the results after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
So I was up north yesterday. We had so much snow.
Yeah.
You know what? And then I drove back, and it's like there was no snow in Toronto. They did a great work clearing the streets.
They really did.
I've got to say, because I was like, where's the snow? Because up north, It's Snowmageddon.
Yeah, but a couple days ago we saw the snow. I was driving and I was like, it was a couple days before. I remember sitting here last weekend and telling you that we were on the lakeshore and people were like stripping their clothes off because it was so hot. And now you got to bundle up again. It's like we can't get out of this.
You know what I'm happy for? Is people who are skiing this week, because today I wanted to go cross-country skiing. I wanted to go down. Today was just, the sun was out, the snow was on the ground. I thought, this is perfect. So the day after, I'm over it.
At least some people are enjoying it. That's good, yeah. If you enjoy the snow, you'll enjoy what's coming because we're not done with it just yet. Currently, right now in Toronto, we are right around the freezing mark. Windsor sitting at 2 degrees, Wyerton at -4 degrees. Here are our lows for tonight. Feeling like -9 in the city of Toronto, while our friends in Bancroft, Peterborough, and Kingston will be feeling in the negative double digits. As you wake up tomorrow, here is what I was talking about in terms of the snow, and I'll show you more details in just a second. But by 7 a.m., the snow will be falling, -1 degree. 9 a.m., it'll be feeling like -6 when you factor in that wind chill. Our highs for tomorrow, we will be in the positives. However, we're actually below normal for this time of year. So in Toronto, our daytime high will be 3 degrees. Normal for this time of year is actually 5 degrees. Let me show you this, because there are some weather alerts. I mentioned Toronto was under a special weather statement. We could see between 2 to 6 centimeters of snow. That is the yellowish orange region, so Bancroft, Barrie, Toronto, Hamilton, Stratford. Depending on where you are, there could also be some freezing rain, between 1 to 2 millimeters of ice buildup. And I'll show you the details of what time that's going to hit in just a second. If you make your attention up north, that's the blue. They are under a winter storm warning, including Sault Ste. Marie, where you could see between 40 and 80 centimeters of snowfall accumulation. Yes, so certainly keep that in mind. Let's get to the forecast radar. Right now, conditions are clear, but as we move through the overnight hours into early Sunday morning, this is where you see that we could be dealing with some snow, again, between 2 to 6 centimeters of snow. Now, as the system makes its way through around the noon hour, we could see some mixing. Keep in mind, this is when the St. Patrick's Day parade will be taking place. So we could see some mixing by noon. Then the system moves out and we mainly deal with cloud cover until Monday morning. Now we get some rain. So Monday morning around 7:30 a.m., there is a system of rain for your morning commute. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast, 3 degrees on Sunday as our high, 7 degrees as the overnight low. There's an asterisk there because the temps start to warm up very quickly for Monday morning, all the way up to 11 degrees. But then it drops right back down. Yeah, big yo-yo effect, because you can see on Tuesday, our daytime high is -5 degrees, and we could get some more flurries as well. So there's a lot to talk about there. Wednesday, some cloud cover in the minus digits. Thursday, back up to the positives. In fact, we get all the way up to 7 degrees next Friday with some sunshine, but you kind of just have to keep up with it. It's a bit of a bouncing ball. Andrea.
Thank you, Raheem. Well, Toronto FC is celebrating its 20th season as the team took to the pitch for their home opener this afternoon.
Now, before the game, fans celebrated the club's 2 decades of embracing the culture, all for one.
Marching to the match, Toronto FC faithful are bundled up and energized. VFC! VFC! Making their way from Liberty Village to BMO Field for the team's home opener.
When we came down to the first one, he was 6 years old. Now here we are. It's a family tradition.
Fans are also celebrating the team's 20th season. It was this moment on May 12, 2007, when Danny Dichio scored the club's first goal ever. Ecstatic fans hurled seat cushions onto the pitch, and fans today are receiving a commemorative seat cushion to honor the anniversary season.
We're looking for some goals and a couple of victories.
Speaking of swag, former Reds midfielder Dwayne De Rosario handed out toques to the passionate fan base, who are also getting their first look at the $146 million stadium renovations, transforming BMO Field to Toronto Stadium for the FIFA World Cup.
It's been very exciting to see the city embrace soccer over the years, and we're all very excited about the World Cup. Still trying to get some tickets, though.
While tickets to those games are a challenge, buying tickets to TFC this season gives soccer fans the chance to watch the club's newest signing, Josh Sargent. The 26-year-old from Missouri comes from an English second-tier side with an expensive transfer fee of around $22 million, according to a source.
We're just excited to bring him into the fold and try and support him as much as we can and give him the sort of service that he needs to be successful.
Hoping that leads to team success on on the pitch on this anniversary season.
Zimmerman got a piece of it back from whence it came. It's still not cleared away. Oh, it's in! It's in! Heartbreak for Toronto FC.
It really was heartbreak. The results of this home opener, it was a disappointing outcome because the Reds were actually leading 1-0 after scoring late in the first half, but then they gave up an equalizer in the dying moments of the game in stoppage time, the game ending in a 1-1 draw. TFC is back in action next Saturday, hosting the Columbus Crew.
Well, Canada was looking for a major upset, taking on the powerhouse Americans in the quarterfinals of the World Baseball Classic last night.
Towering fly ball to deep right field. Judges going back, forget about it. Bo Naylor finds the second deck, and Canada's back in this game.
Yeah, Canada trailed 5-0 early, but Mississauga's Bo Naylor homered in the 6th to put Canada within 2 runs of the U.S. Canada threatened in the 7th with 2 on and nobody out, but could not score. The U.S. went on to win 5-3 to advance to face Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Dominican Republic in the semifinals. This was the first time that Canada had reached the knockout round of the tournament, finishing first in their group.
And we now know who will get the start on the mound for the Blue Jays on opening day.
So special, something that I really didn't understand when I first signed up to be a Blue Jay, but the more that I've been here, the more you understand what that comes with.
Let's go, Canada!
Kevin Gausman will get his first opening day start for the Jays. Jose Barrios has started the previous 2. Gausman is entering the final year of a 5-year, $110 million contract. He's been a consistent presence in the starting rotation since, highlighted by an all-star appearance and a third-place finish in American League Cy Young voting in 2023. The Jays open their season against the Athletics on March 27th at the Rogers Centre.
The Leafs return to the ice tonight looking for a second straight win. They'll be without a key piece of the team.
A rite of passage of the NHL.
There it is in front.
Nylander finds
That's a trick knee on knee from Gudas.
Matthews is down.
Listen, it was almost a month before I could say his second straight win. Captain Austin Matthews will miss the remainder of the season, suffering an injury on his knee-on-knee hit in Thursday's 6-4 win over the Anaheim Ducks. The NHL Department of Player Safety has suspended Anaheim Ducks defender Radko Gudas for 5 games. The Leafs are back in action tonight, visiting the Buffalo Sabres. Puck drop is set for 7 p.m. Ouch. Still ahead, concerns over mounting over paid plasma donations after 2 deaths in Manitoba. More on the growing calls to ban the practice when we return.
The World Cup is coming to Canada.
Right before I close my eyes,
they have a dream to fulfill. Canada, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. That's what they came for!
Obviously, there's a lot of passion on both sides. We're hoping they just keep it peaceful because we love this country.
Updating our top stories, demonstrations are taking place outside the U.S. consulate to mark Al-Quds Day. Advocates say they're rallying in support of Palestinian rights. Earlier, a judge rejected a provincial request for an injunction to prevent the rally from proceeding. Premier Doug Ford said he was disappointed, alleging the event has long been a venue for anti-Semitism and other hate speech. Organizers say that is not true.
We'll continue to discuss what we can do to support the conditions for a de-escalation first, and then a cessation of hostilities.
Those comments from the Prime Minister today on his trip to Norway, as the conflict in the Middle East shows no signs of slowing down. U.S. President Donald Trump today said he'd destroy Iran's main oil hub if the Strait of Hormuz isn't reopened. Iranian officials say any tanker that tries to move through the area will be targeted.
When we came down to the first one, he was 6 years old. Now here we are. It's a family tradition.
Yeah, he's all grown up. It's been a big day for soccer fans as they gathered for Toronto FC's home opener, which also marks the start of the 20th season for the team. The Reds were leading the New York Red Bulls for much of the game, but they gave up an equalizer in the last moments. TFC is back in action next Saturday, hosting the Columbus Crew.
Questions are being raised about the practice of paid plasma donations in Canada after 2 people in Winnipeg died following collections.
Now, some health advocates are calling for a ban on the practice in Manitoba. CTV's Alex Carpa has more.
22-year-old Rodiat Alabede was a Nigerian student studying in Winnipeg. A GoFundMe page identifies her as one of 2 people who died after donating plasma at 2 collection centers in the city. Now, donating plasma for money could be banned in Manitoba.
All options will remain on the table. Our top priority is the safety and well-being of Manitobans.
Health Canada said it received reports that 2 people died after donating plasma at 2 Grifols centers in Winnipeg. The Spanish-owned company specializes in producing plasma medicines and told CTV News each donor undergoes extensive evaluations before being deemed eligible.
These are really disturbing, tragic events.
The Manitoba Health Coalition says the province must hold an inquest into both deaths and is calling for a provincial ban into paid plasma donations.
We support ending this predatory practice and rebuilding and expanding the voluntary system that is much safer and equitable ultimately.
Grifols has more than a dozen collection centers in Canada. According to its website, donors could make up to $100 per donation.
There is no incentive for Grifols to deny a donor when they could be making money from selling their plasma.
Hematologist Dr. Ryan Zarachansky says deaths from plasma donations are extremely rare.
Neither myself nor colleagues in Winnipeg have heard of this complication, and so it really does evoke a sense of concern that we'll have to understand.
Manitoba's health minister said the province is not ruling out ending payment for plasma here in Manitoba, but said they are waiting for a review from Health Canada. Alex Carper, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The province is moving ahead with allowing more retailers to open their doors on select statutory holidays. Premier Doug Ford signaled he was thinking of taking action after he wasn't able to shop at Home Depot on Family Day. Proposed changes would give retailers the option of operating on Family Day and on Victoria Day. At the same time, employees would retain existing rights to public holiday pay, premium pay, and for many, refusing work on a public holiday. Any municipal rules banning retail would also no longer apply. The government says it hopes to have the law enacted in time for this year's Victoria Day on May 18th. In this segment, we're talking movies, and there's only really one topic we can talk about right now. Richard Krause joins us now. And Richard, that is the Academy Awards, the Oscars. They are tomorrow. Now, most people I've spoken to have not seen a fraction of the films that are available. So that's your job for us, Richard. Let's start with who you think is going to win Best Picture.
Well, I think for Best Picture that we're looking at one battle after another. Although the thing that makes the Oscars exciting this year is that I don't know that there's that many clear-cut winners going in, which is kind of fun. I mean, if you knew the score of a baseball game and who won beforehand, you probably wouldn't watch, or you wouldn't be as interested in watching. And so what I like about this year is that I think you're going to have the Sinners people on one side, and you're going to have the one battle after another people on the other side, and they're going to watch one another go back and forth to the podium collecting awards all night, because they are both nominated for an extraordinary amount of awards. 16 categories for Sinners, 13 for One Battle After Another. But I've crunched the numbers. I've had a look at all the other award shows leading up to the Oscars and award season, and then you look at the Las Vegas betting, and there's a couple of other things. I've done the math, and I think it's one battle after another, although I mean, I would not be surprised to see Sinners take this as well. And that's kind of what the interesting part of Sunday night's show will be.
Okay, so if you give One Battle After Another the Oscar for Best Picture, who will you give Best Actor? Because I'm on the fence. Like, I want Sinners to win. I think that performance by Michael B. Jordan, he plays twins. And I'm, you know, as someone who watches movies, I can't figure out how they do it, and I know how they do it, but I can't figure out how they do it. It's an incredible acting performance.
Well, I don't know how they do it and make it work.
Yes.
Robert De Niro arguably the greatest actor of his generation, tried to do it earlier in the year in a movie called Alto Nights, and it just absolutely did not work whatsoever. I found myself confused over which character I was watching all the way through the movie. In Sinners, I never had that problem because he really clearly delineated each of the characters, and so you knew who was doing what at any given time, even though they look very similar. But I think he will be rewarded for that. Michael B. Jordan was not the front runner, I don't think, for a lot of award season until the Screen Actors Guild Awards, the actors, a week or so ago, where he won Best Actor. The way the Academy Awards work, you have directors vote for directors, actors vote for actors, et cetera, and then everyone votes for Best Picture. The actors voted Michael B. Jordan in for the SAG Award, and that's a really good predictor. It's not a 100% predictor because there's a lot of international members of the Academy now, so they may sway things a little bit, but I would not at all be surprised to see Michael B. Jordan taking home his first Oscar on Sunday night.
Okay, we talked about Best Actor. Before we go, let's talk about Best Actress.
Everyone should stay home except for Jessie Buckley for her performance in Hamnet. She has won every single award going all the way through Oscar season, and it would take some sort of seismic event for her not to win the Oscar. Although I'm hearing that she made some kind of derogatory comments about cats in an interview recently on one of the chat shows, and that people were kind of mad about it. And so who knows, little things like that can throw off voting during a hot and contested award season. But I still think, even though she doesn't love cats and people were a little bit angry about it, they're still going to vote for that performance in Hamnet.
She probably spoke about cats after voting closed, but then again, we can never forget Eddie Murphy and Norbit. I truly believe Norbit sunk his chances when for Dreamgirls, because he was incredible in that and was winning awards, and then that happened. So, Richard, my friend, we'll have to see tomorrow. But tonight at 11:30, let's talk about some of the films that are actually available for people who want to go out and watch a movie. Thanks, Richard.
Thank you.
Coming up, we introduce you to a tight-knit family bonding, one bullseye at a time, and finding success on the world stage of darts. That story just ahead. One man's passion has become something he can now share with his kids.
CTV's Adam Swaski tells us how a dart-loving family from BC is now winning on the world stage.
Bill Hammond Jr. had dismissed this as a pub game before being invited to throw darts competitively.
It's an adrenaline rush. You get like so pumped.
But winning local and provincial championships,
you go, wow, right?
Can't compare to having a couple kids.
And it feels so good.
Bill's son Peyton was 3 when he started playing on a magnetic board.
Attaboy.
Before graduating to his dad's real one.
It's fun just throwing with Dad all the time.
And even better when his younger sister Jada joins them.
Dad's definitely been my biggest supporter.
And now throwing darts has become the family's biggest pastime.
We don't have a kitchen.
Instead of one table, the space is dominated by 2 boards that they all played 7 days a week during the pandemic.
That was wicked. We had so much fun.
They used a webcam to compete with people virtually across the country. And by the time it was over, Jada and Peyton were so good, they started winning real contests.
For them to follow my footsteps, I thought was great.
Until Peyton suddenly developed a debilitating mental block called dartitis and couldn't throw.
It's like it's stuck to your hand.
It's not fun. It's the worst thing you can ever get.
But after struggling for months, Peyton overcame the condition thanks to the support of his family and went on to become a multiple national champion.
It feels good to just show up, do my thing, have fun.
While Jada can effortlessly describe how she felt winning a national title too,
it's just that rush of excitement, like, oh my God, I did it.
It's not so easy for Bill to put into words the feeling of watching them win.
And I can't even explain how emotional it gets.
But these pictures of the dad celebrating his children becoming champions hits the bullseye.
Dude, I bawled. I bawled my eyes out, man.
Although Bill couldn't be more proud that Peyton is planning to go pro after becoming the first Canadian youth to win gold at the Worlds, he says the best prize of all is simply having fun with his family.
It's a crazy life, but that's what we do.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Langford.
Titus, I've never heard of that before.
No, me neither. Here's a live look at the city. Before we go, let's take one more look at the weather. And, you know, if you throw a dart, you'll probably hit a weather alert because the large stretch of southwestern Ontario is under a special weather statement, including Toronto. We could see between 2 and 6 centimeters of snow tomorrow, while our friends up north are under a winter storm warning. They could see between 40 and 80 centimeters of snow. Yeah, temperatures right now right around the freezing mark in Toronto. Here's your forecast for the St. Paddy's Day parade tomorrow. It'll start at noon. There's a good chance that there will be some snow along with some freezing rain, so keep that in mind. The parade route goes east on Bloor, south on Yonge, down to Dundas. A quick look at your 7-day forecast. We've talked Sunday, Monday, all the way up to 11 degrees, but it comes with some showers and then a bit of a mixed bag between the sunshine and the clouds. Andrea.
Thank you, Raheem. Well, that is our show for tonight. Be sure to join us at 11 for the CTV National News, followed by our next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For all the hardworking people in front of and behind the camera at CTV News, thank you for watching. Have a good night. Oh, I'm Andrea Face. It's Raheem Ladani.